Alright, hi guys, this is Paul. Welcome to Physical Trader. Our team is specialized on export goods and product and commodity from Vietnam with the affordable price, with the fair price, so that you can do business with for next 10, 20, 10, 30 years. We're worried about quantity and quality because our team is here to keep our reputation and do business for long terms. In today's video, I'm going to share about all the rice that I'm having on my hand because it came out from a rice milling, from rice mill in order to get these back and also learn the knowledge of the rice so that everybody could approach into the rice market much easier. In the last couple of days, a client of mine from Iraq, he contacted me and he wanted me to export rice to him, and I already done so many business with him in the banana, and he trusts me. So I'm really grateful for his trust, and I told him right away that I don't have experience in rice. I never exported rice before, and in Vietnam there are only 150 people that have license to export rice. So it's going to be a different process if he wants to work with me. Because since March of this year, the Vietnam banned the process of using license of other people to export products. Just understand that as a thing that just happened. The law is different. You could check it out by yourself. I'm not expert in law. I'm not a lawyer. After I told him that, he still said, "Hey, Paul, I want to work with you." All right. So I told him that you need to transfer the money to my Hong Kong company in order for me to purchase rice for you. Are you okay with that? And he said, okay. And that's the reason why I have to go to this milling and this process of understanding what rice the market have to offer and what rice used for what market. So we're gonna go to the first group of rice, the high-end group of rice. This is for using for the developed country, also using for Vietnam because we have really high standard of rice eating. Because in the US, people call us a rice eating machine. Yes, we are Asian, and we love to eat rice. We love to eat good rice. So these are the ST group of rice. We got ST25, we got ST24, and we got ST21. So what is ST stand for? ST stand for Sóc Trăng, a province in Vietnam producing this delicious rice that having a extremely good smell. If you cook the rice in your kitchen and you stand outside of your home gate, the smell is gonna flow over the whole area of your home, and you could smell the scent of good smell of rice, the softness, smoothness of that, even though you stand outside of the gate. When I'm talking about this rice, my saliva is coming because, and also when you, after you're done cooking it with a good ratio of water, when you chew it, the sweetness of the rice is gonna come out right away, and it's powerful and compelling and attacking all of your nerve, your system, and your tongue, all right? So this is how good these rice are, and all on my hands are 5% broken pieces, which means that this whole bag gonna have 5% or less than 5% of it is broken pieces. I'm gonna explain the process of how we get this percentage and also how we having different type of rice in order to offer on the market so that each people with different needs could having it. So this is magnificent taste, and it's used for the European, for the United States, and also for Asia country who having high standards of rice eating. All right, so majority of Asia having really high standard about rice because, as what you know, we are expert in rice. We eat rice since we was born a little child. We're not eating wheat bread and all the cold meat inside the fridge like the German. That's still a good culture of food too, but you know, as an Asian, we're not a fan of it. So I got 3 bags of rice over there, all right? I put it back here. Now let's come to the Taiwan good smell and the OM 5451. All right, so Taiwan good smell and OM5451 is for the Middle East. and a lot of people from the Middle East, they love to consuming this specific type rice. And also, if you are in some the middle growth up developed country, you're still gonna love this rice because it's extremely affordable, and still it have the characteristic of a chewy. All right, I forgot to mention that the ST25, the ST group is really chewy. It's chewy to the point that when you chew it, you feel like you're eating something from heaven, softness. So the OM5451 and the Taiwan good smell is less chewy than that, less sweet than that, and they're a little bit less on the scent. They don't have the compelling scent. So if you cook this rice inside your kitchen, you stand outside the gate, you're not gonna be able to smell the smell just like the ST something, because these are built differently. These are built to having a lot of product at the end of every season. So you have a lot of these rice for a same area of growing rice. So farming these things have more tons per kilometer or something like per area of farming. These things have more tons to produce than the ST something group. So the good thing about this rice is it's still having all the characteristics, but just less, and have much cheaper price compared to the ST group. So the difference between the OM5451 and the Taiwan good smell is that the Taiwan good smell having the hardness when you cook it up. Why? Because back in the day when Vietnam just came out from the war, majority of Vietnamese people is eating the rice that really tough, really hard, because the graining process haven't developed yet, and we still cook the most wild type rice of grain, even though it's after 1,000 years already of conquering these rice. So people still eat a really hard rice and really dry when you cook it on. So this Taiwan having that characteristic of dryness and chewiness at the same time. All right, so it's hard when you touch your tongue and your teeth to it, but after you bite through that, it's gonna be started to get chewy. It's time to get a texture of a softness of a, and still smell better than the rice that you used back in the days. Right, my saliva coming, that reason why my tongue is not working as well as it should be. So all this rice is for household consuming. These rice, you're not gonna see like 50,000 tons of it on the boat and transport to our nation. You're never gonna see that. But the next rice, if you're talking about the big money, the millions of dollars of rice, then you talk about the cheapest type rice, the 100% broken pieces rice. So this rice is holding the political power of Vietnam with the Africa country, with Cuba, with many other countries, due to its specific characteristic of being cheap and having a lot of these rice on the market right now. It's less than these for sure, but for the sake of national security, this rice is the food reserve for many African countries, for Cuba, for countries that who are in the need of food. All right. So there's many story between Vietnam and other countries with this rice, because Vietnam holding this political power through rice. Let's say that back in the days, between Vietnam and Iraq, after we having a lot of transaction interacting with each other, Vietnam owning Iraq a lot, and we having a lot of loan that we couldn't pay back. So a lady named Madam Mings fly to Iraq to meet Saddam Hussein, and somehow he decided to clean all the loan that he has lent to Vietnam, and Vietnam become debt free with Iraq. So after a couple of years after the war and all the crazy thing happened, I'm not expert in history, so don't coach me on anything. Vietnam decided to help Iraq with a transaction of rice. At the time, Iraq people were in the hardship because of the war and the food getting into shortage and everything become the worst condition of the worst conditions. So the Iraq governor come to a Vietnam ambassador to asking for, in the Vietnam embassy, to asking for a supply of rice from Vietnam to Iraq for the amount of 30,000 tons. And the ambassador started, the embassy person started to fly to Vietnam and contact a really big corporations of rice at the time, and asking the owner to give Iraq a favor to loan this rice to that governor, to that Iraq market, so that they could start to get their food to be scarce, so their people are not going to be get starving. All right. So Vietnam, she really hesitate, but at the end of the day, the ambassador convinced her to accept that term of payment of when Iraq could, they're gonna pay back. And at the end of the day, Vietnam sent the 30,000 tons of these broken rice to Iraq, and asking for a exchange of nothing, no condition, no payback yet. At the end of the day, the Iraq people, the Arab people, as the ambassador say, is really nice people. And Iraq did pay back the loan. And that's really nice story of these rice, because if you're talking about millions of tons of rice export from Vietnam, this is what it came from, all right? The broken rice, the good story, the great political power of Vietnam. So there's many shipments to Africa, millions of US dollars in this rice. Now move on to the process of how people making this rice, to a percentage of broken or to a percentage of brown rice. So in the US or in Europeans, you guys call it the brown rice. What is brown rice? Brown rice is a rice that after coming from a harvest process and bringing the grain to the milling process. So after you mill it, if you mill it not too hard, which means that you're using a huge wheel to smear on all of these grain under that wheel, and after you smear, if you smear too hard on the grain of the seed or the layer, the out layer of the shell of the rice gonna be all came out. So if it all came out, it's gonna become a white rice. A white rice is the rice that just look white like this. If you not smear too hard, all right, you smear like really sharply and gently, you got the 50% brown rice, which means the process after smearing still left over 50% of the shell. So if you smear it really really gently, all right, you not even smear it, you just take out all the shell, the grain a little bit, like you just left over with that a little bit. Then you got 98% of that is just rice with a layer of seed outside. So the reason why people love to having this brown rice is because it's having more fiber when you eat that. So people who believe in fiber can help them cleaning their gut. They love to eat this rice because they think it's more healthy. And I'm not sure about it. I don't know anything about that. I'm not a scientist, but I love to eat white rice because it tastes really good. So white rice is something around 15, 13% or 12% of that is still having that layer of the shell outside. You might don't see it, but it's a part of a shell, right? So that's how we make this percentage of after graining process. That's a percentage of brown rice only, all right? It could be 100%, not 100%, 95% brown rice, or it could be like white rice, which is only something like 12% of the shell still left over. Now we're talking about how we get the percentage of this broken rice. So after the graining process and you get the white rice over there, that white rice gonna having the percentage of roughly 25% of rice is broken. So if you want to remove that brokenness, you need to put it into another process named shorting. And you're shorting this rice on a plate of metal, it's shaking, and then just bring down all the broken piece down to the hole, that really small hole, tiny hole on these plates of metal. You know, after shake, you bring down all the broken pieces down. So after the first time you shorting it, the percentage of the rice broken pieces gonna be around, let's say it's around 15%, 15% after you sort it for the first time. So after you sort it second time, that when you get the 5% broken rice that we have on our hand. All right. Maybe you can see the grain, the rice really well. So this 5% broken. So usually it's gonna be under 5%. It's not gonna be reaching to 5%. This is 100% broken. Which is all the leftover of the sorting process. Right now it's raining really heavily outside of my of the house that I'm in right now. All right. So I put all these things back. That's a quick introduction so that you could understand which rice to get and where could you get these rice, so that you could understand which market these rice are targeted on, which market these rice is not usable at all, or what situation you should use which rice, so that if you're from this market around the world, you understand about the rice market in Vietnam, how these rice are made, how these rice are processed, and there is like the licenses that are required to export these things. So if you want to purchase from a person like me, from my team, my company, you need to work around that by sending money to our Hong Kong company so that we can process it for you. So that's the video. Hope you like it. And hopefully that we can do business with Carter for next 10, 20, 30 years. And we love to be become a reliable partner. Thank you. Have a great day.